everyone, I am Arafire and you are watching an episode of Look Out and Shout. So I wanted to share with you something that I picked up recently. It's a bit of a holy grail of mine, something I thought I would never get, but I've managed to get my hands on it. Look out and shout! Ow! Say hello to Maketoys Starscream Howling Meteor, to give him his proper name. Now, this isn't a re-release, although there is a re-release coming out. I did actually have a pre-order in for that, but that was supposed to come in January of this year, and it still hasn't come out. So I actually managed to find myself a second-hand one for a fairly reasonable price. I thought I would never get my hands on this. I thought I missed the boat on it. I thought if you were going to buy it, and you can buy them now, but you're paying a better part of £200 plus because of the new Takara masterpiece of Starscream that's coming out, but we'll get to that in a minute. I saw this and I still think this is the best representation of the character. Because up until recently I've always had MP11 and that's done me fine for many years, but I couldn't help but feel it wasn't toon enough for me, not toon accurate. And when I saw this I just love it. I love the orange cockpit. But MP11 did do us fine for a long time as a Seeker mould, particularly in jet mould. But let's have a look at this, shall we? And here he is. Doesn't he look good? Doesn't he look gorgeous? Look at those colours, look at the red. The gold chest piece cockpit, it's very toon accurate, very G1 cartoon inspired. It always struck a note with me, and I think when you look at these shiny glossy colours, it just looks so right. Also, I think this is clearly more white than it is grey, and it just looks like it's come out of a TV screen into your hands, and this is why I think it's so popular. Even the face sculpt looks good, but the only trouble is with it, it is still very dark. Now this is one thing that they were going to do with the reissue, in that it was going to be a lighter face paint, because it's going to be more, well, one, you can physically see it, but it's going to be more reflective of the Takara masterpiece that's coming out. But nevertheless, as good as this looks in robot mode, and it really does, it is the face sculpt that slightly lets it down. You can't particularly see it. But there is a way to get around that. Now, some of you may have noticed you can pick up MP44 and get the spare Starscream head in that. Now, of course, MP44 being Optimus Prime and comes with the add-on bit of Starscream in disguise of Optimus Prime in a Generation 1 cartoon. But it obviously is a Seeker head sculpt, which is much more cartoon aspects to it. And sure enough, I have one right here. Now, this is a much better face sculpt. You can see there's that cheeky grin to it. It's just got much more characteristics to it. The only trouble is this, of course, is that this one for me came with the knockoff of MP44, and it doesn't come with a slide-in adapter which you can buy, which allegedly falls into the back of the Starscream head, which you then sit onto the connector of the shoulders of Howling Meteor. So what you can do, of course, is still pop off the old head, which is fine. It's on a ball joint, no problem there. But the ball joint is smaller than the hole on the knockoff Starscream head. So I've come up with a bit of a solution. It still sits, it still works. I put some tissue paper inside it to pad it out. Simple yet effective. And it gives it that little padding out. It still fills it out a bit. It's not completely flush, I'll be honest. But still, when you look at the end results, that is just money. That is money beyond money. And that is the Starscream we need and deserve. It just looks so right. What can I say? And this, for me, is the complete Starscream. There is, of course, with the back of the figure, they say that's a very ugly back mode and you can get some back fillers. But to be honest, do you have your Transformers displayed back to front? No. So for me, it's not a big deal. Yes, you do have a little butt flap as well. Again, I can live with that. There is some gappage on the knees, but you still get very good bend out of them, and it is designed with the transformation in mind. No ratchets on the shoulders. I will say the waist does come apart very easily. That's something you do have to kind of fiddle with, but the wings don't get in the way. You can move them around, clip them in as well. That's one thing that I did have an issue with MP11, is that the wings would kind of flop backwards. They wouldn't latch into the back of the body. Now, taking into account with what we got coming with the new Seeker mold, new Starscream, is this a definitive Starscream? I think it is. The new Takara mold that's coming is hyper toon accurate, and there is this other phrase that's getting thrown around now, is it too toon? And I think it is. I actually think the body looks really chubby, and I think that whilst the face looks good and the posability looks very good, the jet mode doesn't look much better than what MP11 was, and that just shows you how good a jet mode, a plain mode, that was. But physical robot, it's still that dull grey, which I didn't like with MP11, and this does so much better, that off-white. It makes the other colours stand out so much more. And, okay, it does have a nice face sculpt, head sculpt, and it might come with some nice accessories, although I don't think there's a coronation set. To be fair, there's not one for this either, not yet anyway. But if you can just get a knockoff head that fits properly, unlike mine, I think this is all the Starscream you'll need. I think this is such a wonderful representation of a very beloved character that they really should get right for the following that it's had. There's been 3 versions of a Masterpiece Optimus Prime, and now we're on 2/3 of Starscream, and even then, for me at least, for my money, it's not perfect. And I was going to pick it up, but someone said to me, if you aren't sure about it now, you won't be sure about it when it comes. And there's a very good point. If you're iffy about it now, you're probably still going to be iffy about it. One thing I'll quickly point out though, with that other head, as it doesn't fit on properly, you might have to pop it off for transformation, which, okay, becomes a little bit of parts forming, but still, I prefer to keep it in robot mode. I think it looks so good in that mode. But anyway, let's get him compared to some other characters, shall we? And here he is alongside MP11 in their robot modes. Now this really absolutely is night and day. Where the jet modes may be similar, this couldn't be more different. Clearly, again, Maketoys going for much more of a G1 toon aesthetic, and the MP11 was a very generic Seeker. It doesn't scream Starscream other than his colours. Not to say it was bad, but it's been out for some time now. Sadly, in this mode, is showing its age. I've also not folded in the landing gear of the jet, so apologies for that. I can't believe the difference here, but what I will say is when you see these two side by side, it just proves how good the Maketoys version is. This is a toon accurate Starscream. I mean, yes, okay, I've got the Starscream head that comes with MP44, but it just looks so clean, so presented, so smooth, so reflective, and this looks anything but. This is very jagged, this is very muted, and this catches the eye so much more, particularly when you put them side by side. And here is Maketoys Howling Meteor alongside Takara's MP11. Now, this MP11 mould has obviously been around for quite a while. Not that Maketoys hasn't, but it's quite startling how this has stood up the test of time. Whether this is meant to be an F-15 or an F-16 Raptor jet, it looks like a military jet. It really has stood up as a good design for many, many years. This is obviously trying to mimic that, as well as being a Generation 1 Starscream. You can see this is very toon inspired in the colour scheme, but the overall better jet, I would say you have to go with the Takara mould. It just looks that cleaner, that more precise in balance and proportions. I think this is a better overall jet. You forget quite how big that is when you get it transformed up. This is still a very good jet mode, but you can see here there is tabbing in issues quite a bit. I cannot get the wings to go into the body, and that is quite disappointing. I was expecting there to be issues. It's certainly not a bad figure. I absolutely adore the gold cockpit on this. It's so G1, and it's really one of the things I wanted of this the most. The colours are so vibrant. The red on what will be the shoulders of bot mode and the sort of the vents in vehicle mode, that it's just really popping, really capturing. I'm sure you can see it on camera. The blue is very bright. Everything about this is very, very good, but tabbing in is a concern. It's a shame, really. It tidies up well underneath the back. You can see how stuff flops and bends around. It is a bit of a shame it's not as clean and as tidy as MP11 is. This does look dull, I'm afraid to say. The colour scheme is just great. This obviously did us really well for a long period of time. Tidies up very well underneath when you think about it. That is very compact. The wheels actually roll on a landing gear. Don't see that much these days. But I do think it looks a little bit uninspiring in some cases. That's a nice blue on the tail wing. But compared against the two, the colour scheme of Howling Meteor looks brilliant, but an overall jet mould, I've got to say, Takara takes this one. But based on this, I give this 4.5 Rodimus Star Badges out of 5. It's so good in so many ways. You've got to fish around for a good price, but the tabbing in of the jet mode is what lets it down for me. But otherwise, I love the paint sculpt. I love the smoothness of the robot mode. I think it's so clean. And I don't think you will find a better Starscream out on the market. Not yet, anyway. But I'll stick some pictures up at the end. Thanks for watching. Hit the like and the subscribe button if you feel so inclined. And I'll see you on the next one.